ever have to raise up the back of the car, you're not going to have any front brakes on the front of the car, so the car is going to roll. If you jack up the back, jack up the front first. And make sure that your emergency brake is set, even if you're off the ground. Actually, especially if you're off the ground. That way, if something happens and the car drops, it's not going to roll all the way down the driveway. Also, walk all the way around the cart and inspect every single jack stand and make sure that all 4 feet of every jack stand are firmly planted on the ground. Okay, we are now under the car, coming in from the back side. This is your back cross member. Most of your connections, looks like you're gonna be getting at them from up here. Okay, right above the, let's see, this would be the rear passenger tire. And there's your exhaust that runs to the back. And then up here, you have 2 metal straps, which are held in with a bolt. And those are gonna have to be unfastened. And over here, on this side, there's 1 metal band that runs up here. And that one needs to be unfastened. So there's only 2 bolts. There's 3 straps, but 2 bolts. And that's all there is for the straps. This black section right here is the tank. Then you have this entire huge shield that is held up by the bands as well. That whole part is going to have to come off somehow. And I think the shield is only held in with probably a couple of fasteners around the side. And it just looks like 1 for there. And the shield will come off. And there's probably going to be 1 down on the other side over there. I think I need to jack the car up a little bit more. I can't really fit under on this side. Okay, now we're going to go in from the side of the car. Yep, looks like there's another fastener holding down that big metal shield there. There's another one on the side over here. Well, I guess that's more of a shield. It shields more than half the gas tank. But it's a separate piece. That's going to have to come off. I was hoping it was just going to be a couple bands and that would be it, and drop the tank and boom, it falls. Nope, not that easy. This is Mazda engineers we're talking about here. Little bastards. I'm going to lube up that bolt there. This one connects the exhaust heat shield to the gas tank heat shield. Well, he's going to be a 10. Yeah. That stud is connected to this gas tank shield. So when this drops, it should just disconnect from here. There's one right up in there too. Well, even if I do get it on there, I'm not going to be able to back it off. Need a 10mm wrench. This is right above the exhaust, which shoots out to the back. 10mm, and you're only going to be able to fit a wrench on it. So you can see that. This is notched. So that's going to have to slide over to the left when it comes down. It's kind of weird. But that's part of the exhaust heat shield. And the stud, as you can see, goes through the tank protective shield and then into the heat shield. And I'm guessing I'm going to find probably a couple more of these. More than likely 1 or 2 on the other side. Okay, now we're into the back of the car. I think maybe this is supposed to hold in the fuel tank. All these bolts, and you're just supposed to drop the straps, remove the straps first, then those last. That's a good question. I have no freaking clue. I wouldn't doubt it. Keep going. Alright, then we got another one right here. Yeah, wrench time again. Nope, that's it. Oh, that's it because this shield, this shield only goes right here. It stops halfway, and all the rest over there, there's no shield, so there's not going to be any bolts. So we're ready to take the straps off, and the straps on the other side have hinges, which means it's supposed to rotate, and all the straps are supposed to bend down. So take the 2 bolts out here and the whole thing should come down. But before I do that, I'm thinking it's probably smart to disconnect the fuel lines and the filler neck and all that shit. You have your choice of disconnecting your fuel filler neck hoses first, or going down under the other side of the car and disconnecting your main supply and return lines. I think that I'm going to attempt the main supply and return lines first. They're easier to access. I will be back on this side anyway in order to remove the tank straps. We'll start up front and work our way back. Now this is when you're going to need your shop towels and your rags. These are the main supply and return lines. This one right here and this one right here for your fuel tank. This is what gives fuel to your engine and returns the unspent fuel back. These 2 are probably going to be full of fuel. Disconnecting here and here. I'm just going to preemptively lay down some towels as well as have my rag handy just in case. It should be unpressurized so it's not going to spray all over the place. Man, that does not want to come off. Jack stand is right in the way. Took a while, but I think I got it. Okay, here we go. Yep. It's way off on where it was going to leak, though. Oh, it's not too bad. It's not that much. That's doable. Alright, that's one down. There we go. Whoa. Alright, so we got both of those disconnected. What about the vapor lines? We have both fuel lines disconnected, these 2 right here. So these are going to be the middle larger of the 2 that run all the way to the front. And that's just your fuel line. This large one that runs around the side of the tank will then go over here, and that's your brake line, or your emergency brake cable. It's a really, really thick hose. It's the largest diameter hose out of all of these, and it kind of runs into the middle because that's where it goes, into the middle into your e-brake handle. Then goes up to the tire over there, and then the other half splits and goes to the other back tire. That's your e-brake. This piece right here is kind of weird. It's a rubber mount. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there. What's up with that? If you want to see how much fuel was spilled, it's really not much. Maybe a couple tablespoons. So now we're under the back of the car looking forward, and we have to get this main fuel filler neck hose disconnected from the gas tank. There's a clamp with a screw. All of your vapor lines that run up to your filler neck are going to have to be disconnected as well on the gas tank. And I believe there are 2 that are actually connected on top of the gas tank, and the only way to get those off is when the tank is dropped. The trunk harness that's in the trunk on the 95 only, 93 and 94 do not have this connector. It runs into the trunk diagnostic connector. That is going to have to be disconnected again, which is where I probed in the fuel pressure video up there. It's a pain in the ass to get to, along with all this other stuff, because this stupid frame thing is right in the way. I mean, all the connections and everything are right above this thing. There's really no easy way for me to film that. If you have to do this procedure yourself, just do the best you can. Get in there and disconnect everything from the tank. The most important thing here is if it does not go to the tank, don't disconnect it. You're just making more work for yourself. But I know that the fuel filler neck is obviously going to be connected to the tank as well as the vapor lines. So here's your connector. That sucker, that's got to be disconnected. That's kind of a pain to get to. This thing right here, so that's 2 evap lines, the electrical connector, and the fuel filler neck. I think that should be all of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4 things to disconnect. I am pushing down on said connector. I just can't get the leverage. Fucking about time. Jesus, man. Decepticon, hope you're paying attention. Don't ever design something that god awful. Alright, now there's a vapor line there. Then there's another one right there. The bolt that we want to get at is this one right here. It is a clamp that is screwed down, and it's 10 millimeter, and all I have is this little 10 millimeter wrench to go at it, because you can't get at it from underneath here. It does have a Phillips head, but you can't get underneath it from here. Now there is a hole in the cross member, in this K-frame member. That's about right over there. And I imagine that was made so that you can put a long screwdriver up to get to it. Unfortunately, this clamp is out of position. It's slid too far to the back in order to make that useful. So, 10 millimeter wrench, a lot of patience, and a lot of PD blaster. This is the fuel filler neck on the gas tank side. This is the gas tank right here. Ideally, this is what you would want to disconnect first. However, as you can see, the bolt head is on the top, not on the bottom, on the top. There's no way to get to this. And I guarantee you, when I go to reinstall that, I'm going to install that so that the Phillips head is facing downward. I got the clamps off, but it's plastic. This pipe right there that runs right there, it's plastic. It's not a metal pipe, that's a plastic pipe. So I'm afraid I'm going to crush or break that. And that goes up to the top of the gas tank there. And the same for the other side, they're plastic. I'm just going to keep going at it, and I'll get back with you when I get this bolt off. When you get this clip wound down enough and it's loose enough, it should just slip right over the end there. Like that. I can get a real good look at how this thing is set up. Now, because it is under pressure while you both screw it in or screw it out, there is no just getting it with your fingers and loosening it the rest of the way. It is under tension the entire time, either forwards or backwards. So you're in for a long bit of wrench time on this clip. I'm going to be right under this if it starts leaking. I can really smell the paper. Okay. Wow. What a pain in the ass. Hopefully you can get the screw that's on the other side and you don't have to mess with this one. Wow. So what's next? The plastic lines. That's got to get them plugged. This is a plastic line. On the other side, I guess that's an evap line. The two evap lines here, I mean, those are flexible, so those should come down a little bit. That's not. I'll try and take down one of these straps. Okay, and this is the point that I'm going to take you and me out from underneath of the tank. In order to get that third strap off, you have to come at it from the back. This is the exhaust pipe. Here's the muffler right there. And there's one right in there. That whole bracket has to drop. And that bracket is what the second clamp also or the second band also clamps into. So that's a 2-for-1 deal if you just get it at that. Here are all the steps in order, and here's the full list of procedures according to the 2002 manual. And that's one of the nice things about the 5th gen manuals, is that it does go over procedures that the 4th gen manual does not. The 4th gen manual basically says drop the fuel tank, replace the fuel pump, and reinstall in reverse order. That's all it says. But in the 5th gen manual, it does give you a list of procedures to follow in order. And right now I am on trying to drop the fuel tank, and I've already got the straps, but then it says pre-silencer insulator, which is this exhaust heat shield. The exhaust shop did was screw my metal shield in to place with 3 different screws. So I'm going to try and take those out, see if that helps. These are self-tapping. Not sure if they're ever going to go back in correctly, but this shield was just hanging there. It's not secured by anything, and I didn't quite like that, so I'm absolutely fine with what they did. It's just I'm not sure if these 3 screws are what's holding everything in now, so those have got to come out. You 5th gen owners are going to run into a lot of different things that I'm not going to have to deal with here. You have a lot more hoses in this area, including this guy, number 4, which is a pressure control valve. And I'm not sure where that's connected or what it's connected to. Looks like an additional 4 connections to that thing. That's gonna suck. So you 5th gen owners have a lot more work cut out for you than what I'm showing here. Well, I dropped the heat shield, and that did afford me a lot more room. I can push the fuel tank forward and backwards a lot easier now. Gives me a lot more room, probably another 2 inches of room, which is definitely needed. The outer band is also connected to a hinge, and that hinge is not coming off. But this one, this middle one, as you can see, is on a bracket, and I've almost got it off, and that should just come right off. But I wanted to show you the difference. And this wants to sit in there like so. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to see if I can push this whole gas tank that way. See if that'll help. See, when I do that, this heat shield flexes and moves along with the bands. It's like it wants to come out if I could get these straps out of the way. I believe the bracket is held in place by an elongated pin, and then that pin has to go up and through and out of that hole, which means I have to press up on the gas tank and press up on the strap in order to get that bracket out. So I'm going to try that, and it looks like it's going to be the same exact thing for the other strap. So both straps have those pin tie down methods. Now this is the time when you want to put your jack up. Just figured that one out, but hey, it's a learning experience. There we go. See, now the gas tank is up, and I'm free to move this bracket and try and manipulate the bracket. Hopefully I didn't lift it too much. So we'll try something like that. Now you see the pin I'm talking about? This pin has to come up and then out. Bastard. Got my jack under there. Nice thick piece of plywood under here. And on this side, you're not going to be able to see it, but basically rinse and repeat. I got shit all over my face from doing the last one. There's no room for me to lift it out. There we go. That's why. Come on. Almost got you. Come on. Come on. Alright, that's all 3 down. Whew. Not looking forward to putting those back together. Pain in my ass. Know that truth. Will this sucker drop or not? Looks like it wants to drop. Certainly dropped more than before. I think I got enough clearance over here. No, I still need about another inch of clearance, because the tank overhangs this cross member just by a little bit. So if I can go forward with this about 1 inch. That might be enough. See, I always imagined it would slide out back, but I think in this instance, because it overhangs this, it's going to end up sliding out front. These are disconnected, that's disconnected. The only one I did not disconnect was up here, but this one's still got plenty of flex. I mean, this one's got an extra foot, so that's designed to come down. There we go. I just didn't drop it enough. That's all it was. I didn't drop it enough. I was just being too cautious with it. Here's your main filler hose there. There's connections. There we go. Now we're loose. Now we're all the way down. Just going to double check up here. Make sure that I don't have any connections of any kind that are going to break on me when I drop this. Well, I can't really see. Oops. Got a screwdriver up there. That's where that went. Well, I think it's time to pull out the jack. Here's the one hose that still has to be disconnected, which gets disconnected way up there, but you can also disconnect it here at the tank. Okay, so that long evap hose goes down and connects right there, and there's a plier lock clamp there that I need to get off. And then I should just be able to drag the tank out. There we go. Okay. I need a screwdriver to pry that off. Oh wow, that comes right off. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So much easier than anything else I've had to do today. And there's no fuel in there because that should just be evap, I'm assuming. No, but it's stuck on this sticky backing plate. It's a rubberized protective plate. So that's basically if you take a hard bump, the fuel tank is hitting this rubber up against the top of the, I guess that would be your floorboard up there. And this stuff is all over the tank. There's like little patches here and there, so leave that stuff if you can. And again, I want to thank Snailman on Mazda626.net for telling me about this pin. I would have been wrestling this for quite a while. I would have been trying to take down the fuel tank with the strap still on. That's how you do it. Snailman, thank you. You are awesome. Basically, the general principle is going to be exactly the same on the 93 to 2002 models. And that's 4-cylinder or V6. They both share the same fuel tank and the same exact connections and the same exact routing and hoses and everything. As far as transmission configuration, it does not matter. So that's how you remove a fuel tank from a 93 to 2002 Mazda 626 MX6 Ford Probe Telstar Protege. There you go, fuel tank removal. Done. Now the next, and now if you're interested in the next series, we will be replacing the fuel pump, and I will be doing another video on that. That's a different video altogether because that includes going over to the bench and disassembling this and putting it back together. And then reassembly is basically just the installation of reverse. If you get to this point and you've removed it, you're going to know how to reinstall it. So that's all there is to it. Cool.